Hello everyone, welcome to ChessWiser, your wise choice to improve your chess. In today's video, I'm going to show you a very interesting Armageddon game played between Pavel Ponkratov and Vishy Anand. And it was played on Chess.com's Global Championship Knockout Day 2. So before we check this game, if you are watching this channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So here, Ponkratov was handling the white pieces and Vishy was handling the black pieces. So Vishy, I think he opted for 7 minutes. So he has to draw the game within that 7 minutes. So it was really intense game. So I'm going to show you this game now. So Ponkratov plays the move e5. Anand goes for e5. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. We have bishop c5, the Gioco piano. So c3, knight f6, d4, e takes d4, e5, d5, striking in the center with a counter-attacking idea. Bishop drops to e2, knight e4. After that, c takes d4, bishop b6, knight c3, developing and also increasing the pressure on e4 knight. So castles and castles by Ponkratov. We have bishop e6 by Vishy, knight a4 going after the Dasko bishop, f6 challenging the center. We have bishop e3 developing as well as adding one more defender to the d4 point. We have king h8, some kind of prophylaxis move. We have a3. In this position, Anand could have played pawn f5 and the game was completely equal, no problem. So knight takes b6, a takes b6 could have happened. But in the game, he plays or he relieves the tension in the center, and it looks like black is opening the f file for his major pieces. But the thing is, it is always wise to have the pressure in the center, right? So since it was an Armageddon game, he was actually having time trouble throughout the game. So he plays like this. Okay, knight takes b6, we have a takes b6, knight takes e5, we have knight to d6, trying to hop the knight on c4 square. Later we have pawn to f4, cementing the e5 knight, bishop f5. This bishop looks good now because that was simply staring at his own pawn, and now this bishop is coming to e4 later, or even sometimes the knight would come back to e4 square. Okay, so here we have a queen b3 in the game, but instead of that, to attack this bishop, he could have gone g4 immediately. It looks risky, but it is playable. So bishop e4, then we have pawn f5. So going back in the game, he played queen b3. We have bishop e4, rook a c1, knight a5 attacking the queen. So queen c3, pressurizing the c7. So knight a c4, rook c d1, and we have c6. Bishop c1 dropping the bishop, and we have pawn to b5, and queen side is looks very good for Anand. And then if you look at the knight's post and the bishop's post, it's actually a very good thing. So we have pawn to g4 now, as I was mentioning, and it looks actually a risk as well as risky as well as scary, because the bishop now slices the king's castle position. It's very risky actually. So queen e7, we have queen g3, and the queen is very active actually. She is switching back to the queen side as well as king side very quickly. So bishop to c2, and we have rook d1 x-raying the queen, and we have knight to e4 attacking the queen here. So after queen to h3, he sets up a small trap here. So sensing that, Anand immediately plays king to g8. If you play some casual moves like this, then you are gone actually. So knight to g6 is game over. So going back in this position, he plays king g8. So for this, he drops the queen to g2. So bishop to b3, and we have rook f3, and after this we have knight takes e5, d takes e5, and now comes queen c5 check. So in this position, Anand actually goes wrong here. Instead of that, actually the queen was should be there on e7 to keep on eye over this e5 square, because it temporarily stops white to push the f pawn, right? And even if he pushes the f pawn without e pawn, it is not going to be that strong. So but in the game, he plays queen c5 check. Instead of that, he could have gone bishop c4, trying to trade this bishop. So we have let's say bishop takes c4, b takes c4, and this resulting pawn structure is really good for black. But in the game, he went to queen c5 check, and here Ponkratov plays king h1. We have bishop to c4, bishop to d1, avoiding the trade, and then pawn to b4, and now he tries to prove the majority on the queen side with the pawn push here. But in the game, he doesn't care about the queen side actually, Ponkratov, and he pushes on the king side now. So f5, B takes a3. As you can see, this e5 pawn is hanging now, so the queen was better on e7, right? So yeah, so we have b takes a3. The idea is very simple. He wants to simply push the pawn and make the pawn storm, and then the rook h3, queen h3. It's very very scary thing, and actually it's a mating attack actually. So but here Anand keeps playing on the queen side with the b5, and we have the move pawn to g5. So here again, the right way to continue the position is to play something like queen e7 again and again. In case if you play queen e7 now, you could save the position here actually. If e plays the move like f6, or sometimes something like g6, then actually after this you cannot even take here. If you take, then we have a problem, like queen h4 can be very strong because the rook is threatened now, and if you capture and the other rook is involving and your pawn looks stupid on g6, so that is not playable actually. But here after queen e7, if you push the f6 pawn, that's what matters actually, because that is the line white played in the game without the queen on e7. In this case we can simply take on e5. After f takes g7, the game is completely out of control by white, and black is clearly better here. So going back in this position, if you play such a moves like say for example the pawn is hanging, so white has to play something like queen to b2, right? So in order to protect the pawn, and black could try the same idea with like a c5, trying to cut off this queen's diagonal, and the game is completely equal again. But in the game he plays g5 and then b4. We didn't see, or Anand did not play the move queen e7. So g6, and we have b takes a3, and actually it's the last blunder of the game. In this position, if you capture the pawn like this, then white should capture with the queen. If you capture with the pawn, that's a blunder actually, because of knight f2 check. So now we have one more attacker on the f2 square by the rook. So here he should play with the move like queen takes g6, and then let's say bishop d3, rook takes d3, knight f2 check is a tactical error actually, so he cannot touch the bishop. So it's good to have this kind of position for black. But in the game he plays on the queen side continuously. He tries to queen the pawn here, b takes a3, but here comes the f6. After f6 he plays h5 now, but actually the game is over already. So in this position Ponkratov plays the simple move, that is f7. So and that is it. So here Anand actually resigns the game, because the attack which is coming is the mating attack is not stoppable actually after f7 check. If you play moves like h8, king h8, then we can play queen h3 threatening mate in 1, and black could go black could throw all the forcing ideas into the white's camp, like knight f2 check, rook f2, bishop e2, bishop takes e2, queen e3, bishop takes e3, and after rook takes f7 we can play rook takes f7. And finally after I think there is no forcing move left, so after this there is no stopping idea. Let's say a2, queen check, king g8, and then queen h7 is a beautiful checkmate. So because of the time pressure, and there was no time to think for Anand actually after h5 and f7. So yeah, so in this position he simply resigned the game. So it was really tough game for Anand, I should say, because of the again and again the same thing. He opted for 7 minutes for some reason. Okay, anyway, that's it. If you enjoy my commentary, please do like this video. For more videos, please do consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. As usual, this is Chess Visor, your wise choice to improve your chess.